Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Chambers in London, and I'm reviewing a book today which has come to us from Jordan Publishing. We've reviewed it before and it's well known, I think, to students and undergraduates. It's called Boyle and Birds Company Law. It's now in a 9th edition. It's been written by a number of people. This is the book here. Before I go through the review, which my wife Elizabeth and I have written, let's have a look at the book. There's the front of it. And there's the side, the spine and the back. You can see how heavy. It's a heavy book, 1,000 pages. It's got a lot of people involved in it. Let me just explain who they are. The general editor is John Birds. You can see the names here. I'll read them off so you've got some idea. The consultant editor is A J Boyle. Then the contributors are Bryan, Gerard McCormack, Matteo Solinas, Michael R. Varney and Charlotte Villiers. It's also available as an e-book, and can I say that the lineup has changed slightly since the previous edition, and it's mentioned in the foreword. Let's go start at the front. There we go, there's the detail of who's written it. Do read the preface from John Birds, written in July of this year, 2014, which just sets out some of the changes that have taken place. There are 21 chapters, and I'll just run through those. Then you've got him halfway through them there. Then you've got the standard huge table of contents. Then the book itself, let me just show you. You've got paragraph numbering at the sides. The first number being a chapter number, and then it runs through there, as you can see. Then you've got a lot of footnoting at the bottom, which is very helpful because obviously you don't. It's always useful to try to read these things through without looking too much at the footnotes, because they do tend to get and bog you down if you're not careful. Now let's go to the back. You've got an index which is actually quite detailed and I think very helpful. There are no appendices, but you've got, as I say, right at the back you've got some commentaries about what has been said about the book. It is a heavy book and it's a paperback, but I'm very pleased with it. A lot of changes which have been listed again on the back. We've mentioned some of the changes in the review, but I think anybody involved in corporate governance, or company law as I prefer to call it, will know that you know, there have been some interesting cases and some changes which are quite important for the practitioner certainly to know about, and anybody involved in the intellectual arguments of corporate governance. Now we've given it a title, Company Law or Student. Here Boyle and Birds now in the new updated 9th edition for you. And this is what we say. As we've written elsewhere, company law, or corporate governance as it's sometimes called, is not the easiest of subjects because it requires an authoritative and reliable textbook to help both practitioners and students untangle its intricacies. And here it is now, the new 9th edition of Boyle and Birds for 2014 from Jordan's. Now, Boyle and Birds remains a well-established practitioner work that is also ideal for students, as well as company administrators and a whole range of people involved in that aspect of work. It's based, of course, on Gore-Browne on companies, the acknowledged authority on company law. So it comes as no surprise, as we've mentioned before, to note that John Birds is a contributor to, and A J Boyle is Editor Emeritus of Gore-Browne on companies. Now this new edition remains an authoritative examination of law and practice of company law. It also places theoretical issues under scrutiny. This and its plain language approach make it ideal, we think, for those studying for examinations, as well as for laymen and, for that matter, those seeking to extend their understanding of company law for whatever reason, perhaps business people and so forth. This edition incorporates further significant case law developments that have taken place over the past few years. The updates include the following: case law on members' rights and the duties of shadow directors, new cases on the core director's duties of proper purpose and good faith, the Supreme Court decisions in Eurosale and Northall Networks, the Court of Appeal decision in Game Station, and of importance I think to students, the piercing of the corporate veil in VTB and Prest. And remember, that's always a popular subject with examiners, piercing the corporate veil, so it might be that if you look at this you get a few ideas for your answers in the examination hall. The book's logically structured, as I've said, in 21 chapters and just under 1,000 pages, dealing with virtually every aspect of company law, from the development of the registered company to such topics as legal personality, registration, formation and promotion of companies, and the company's constitution. Ideal really for the undergraduate LLB course, really, if you think about it. There are 4 chapters on shares, share capital and debentures, and a detailed chapter on corporate governance. These are only a few examples. Obviously I could give you a lot more, and they are mentioned on the back cover in the book, of the vast range of the subject matter covered and the changes with the new edition. The last chapter, which is one of the lengthiest, covers corporate reconstruction and insolvency. Again, an important area, especially in times of downturn, and deals in detail with such areas as administration and compulsory liquidation. Copiously and meticulously footnoted throughout, this substantial volume provides extensive tables of cases, a very large number at the beginning. Obviously also covers statutes and statutory instruments, some 50 pages of them. Now the detailed table of contents at the back I think is very helpful, plus a 35-page index, as I say, actually, which is the back. The index is at the back, not the contents, which are at the front. And obviously the index does help you facilitate looking up of what you're actually trying to find if you're in a hurry. The book's nothing if not a time saver for the hard-pressed practitioner. Let me conclude by saying that those professionally involved directly or even indirectly in domestic company law will find this distinguished new edition from of Boyle and Birds. It remains, as John Bird says, a reliable and comprehensive guide to this diverse, difficult and complex subject. Let me just remind you of the book. Nice orange cover, heavy book, spine, the back again. It's be careful about when you're opening it, because once you've opened it a few times it will sort of bend a bit. Let me just remind you, there is the footnoting that you can see, a lot of detail there. You've got the paragraph numbering as well, which is also, I find that very helpful. But as I say, just remind you, that's the detail of the index, and you can see it is actually a very full index, which I think is helpful. The contents page at the front also goes into a lot of detail by using the paragraph numbering, so you can find things reasonably quickly. And I've found that with most company law books, so that is actually the easiest way of dealing with the subject. And then you see the table of cases there. All in all, I'm very pleased with this. These books have been around a long time. I didn't have these books when I was a student really to use, but things were rather different in those days. So I think this is a great aid both for the practitioner and for the academic pursuant to his or her studies. So thank you to Jordan's, and thank you certainly to Boyle and Birds and all the other people who've backed them up in producing an excellent work. Thanks to you, and bye-bye for now. Bye.